Hello out there. Welcome to another live edition here at AutoCrit. I'm Daniel, one of our story coaches, editors, content creator. I do everything around here at AutoCrit, let's be honest. A little bit of everything. I'm so happy to join you though, because we are going to announce the winners of the Drop the Beat challenge today. We're going to give away some cool prizes, and then we're going to talk about our next exciting challenge, which some of you might already know about. We've been hinting around about it, and it might be a little bit different than what you expect. So first of all, before we get started with that, I just want to know, how did you enjoy the Drop the Beat challenge? What did you learn? What was your big thing that you grew on as an author? What was the big moment? Did you have any aha moments or any revelations of you as an artist? What were some of the things that you discovered along the way? So go ahead and throw that into the chat, and I'm going to see what we have here coming up. Woohoo! Yes, it looks like we are all winners. That is right. Um, you are correct. By participating in challenges like this, you are a winner, because guess what? You're writing, and writers write. I know, kind of obvious, but you all know a bunch of writers that don't really write. They talk a big game, but they're not really getting a lot done. Just doing these projects can help you get that motivation, get that momentum. And of course, all of our challenges are designed to help you build up some skills too. We don't just give you a blank sheet of paper. We challenge you, hence the name. We challenge you with different criteria and things like that in order to help you grow as an artist. Well, thank you, Christina. You did the Plotcraft workshop, found it informative. You're waiting to see your critique. Yes, we did get a lot all at once between the beat sheet critiques for the challenge and for the workshop, but we are putting them through, which mostly is me. Uh, we are going through them, and you should see that very soon. Thank you so much for joining me on that, and glad you enjoyed it. And for those of you who missed out on the Plotcraft workshop, well, don't worry. I'm sure we will do another one in the future here. You did not submit yours, but you almost finished your corresponding novella. See? So there you go. And that's the thing, when we do these challenges, you don't have to actually submit it. You can just follow along with us, do the challenge on your own, not even submit it, and then you can use it as inspiration for your own works. We've had all kinds of different successes and stories from people that use the challenges in different ways. It's just helpful to have something to do. I have discovered that I have a really hard time drafting scenes without having enough background info in my head to flesh it out. The beats help you focus. That's great. I feel the same way. I mean, I am not a pantser type. I generally do like to go into a project with a clear idea of at least the basic conflicts, if not really the basic plot in general. But at any rate, having that beat in mind can be helpful. And I do tell people, maybe you're not a planner, maybe you are a pantser, you're a discovery writer, but use that beat sheet maybe as you go, right? Have that beat sheet on the side and fill it out as you go. And so then it's like, well, what comes next? And it's like, well, what comes next in the beat sheet? Okay. And you can kind of follow along. That is a method. Another method, of course, I've mentioned this lots of times, is just writing that first draft and then using the beat sheet to analyze what you have written. That's also a great way of doing it. It was hard, but you found holes in areas where you could plant better ideas by doing it. Exactly. Gave you more ideas for your story. This is the point, right? It is just another tool in your arsenal. It can be really helpful. Don't let it bully you. Don't be bullied by the beat. You can stop the beat, despite what Hairspray says. Now you can. You don't have to let it rule over you, but you can use it in that way. This is fascinating. It sparked an interesting discussion with my husband about defensive versus offensive character motivation agency. I like it. We're getting deep and philosophical there. Those are, I'm joking a little bit, but those are honestly the discussions I love to have. I love to have discussions with people about literature, and it's like, okay, so how active was this character? How much agency they have in this story? Really, they may feel like they had a lot, but what did they really have? That kind of philosophical stuff. I'm an analytical person by nature. Very constructive feedback. I'm now convinced of the value of outlining. Lots of great suggestions. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. I did love reading your story. And there are a lot of great ideas. I'll be honest, with all of these submissions, of course, there were varying levels of quality. I think we're always going to have some people that, are not necessarily putting as much into it as they could. But for the most part, everybody did take it very seriously. And I saw a lot of great ideas throughout. There were a lot of them that were quite close to being, uh, a well-structured skeleton. Sometimes there'd be holes, but you would see the potential there. And I think my hope is that even if they submitted it, that perhaps a lot of the people that submitted it might have known that, okay, well, this is a little rough around the edges. I'm still going to put it out there, but I hopefully going through that process helped it get even better. All right. So, that being said, I'm sure you are curious to know who the winners are. And as has been mentioned, essentially, yes, you're all winners for participating. But come on, we want to know who did the best, at least in the eyes of the judges. And this was hard. I'll be honest, because when you're dealing with beats, you get to the point where a lot of them were solid, and it was like, okay, but between these that are all solid, which one is kind of the more solid? So I hope you like our winner. I'm a big fan of the winner. It is a little bit different, but before I talk about the winner, I do want to give a shout out to some honorable mentions that did a great job. So we have Love Rearranged, and I need to rearrange myself, by Bar Davy. That was an excellent one. Lots of great ideas going on there. I thought it could have been cleaned up a little bit. It was a little messy, but there are a lot of great ideas. Untitled, I think it was Untitled, by Amanda Northrop. This one was very basic. I think I saw her comment a while ago that she was like, this is too basic. And yes, it was basic, and I think you do need to flesh it out. But you were getting the structure really well. I wanted to give you a shout out for that, because I also think you're on the newer side based on your comments in the chat. So be motivated, because you're on the right track. Mythicalia by Teresa Williams. Reflections by Danny Brookhart. Pittville PD by Shangzhen Lee. The Bluffs by Gina Testa. One More Moon Dance by Mary Jo Weiland. Casa d'Astrophobia by Kenneth Burba. This one was really interesting. This one definitely caught my eye. There's something there. Not that the other ones didn't, I just mentioned, but this one had a really interesting premise. I Am No Alice by Samantha Simmons. Also a very interesting premise. Although I have noticed there's a lot of Alice going on. Now, I love Alice in Wonderland, but I'm just wondering, like, does anybody know why there's so much that wants to play with Alice in Wonderland right now? I know it's public domain, but like Winnie the Pooh just became public domain, everyone. Come on, Winnie the Pooh stories. Let's go. I know there's that horror movie coming out, but come on, there's other ways you can go with this. It's love. It's supposed to be messy. I didn't mean like that. It was messy in the way that love usually is. It was more that I thought it could have been a little bit cleaner in some of its choices. That's all. All right, but let's go ahead. The big winner is Bettina Huntenberg, who wrote a story entitled The Missing Socks. Immediately, it had my attention, right? With a title like that. How in the world are you going to make a compelling story? And I think why this one won really is because not only did it have a really interesting premise that's kind of this high concept, maybe even a little gimmicky, but it just paid it off really well because it was so thoughtful with how it explored it. So let's go through it together. Why not, shall we? Opening image, Lefty Argyle is a sock, being put in the wash by her wearer. She and the other socks and clothes all tumble around, and Lefty loses sight of her partner, Righty Argyle. She moves herself faster around the spin cycle looking for her partner. In the dryer, Righty Comfy tells Lefty Argyle that every sock will lose a partner or be lost themselves at some point to a getting hole, being sucked into the drum of the dryer, or the wearer simply mislaying them. It's inevitable, and then they're thrown into a tall rectangle that goes to the street and is carried away forever. During the folding, Righty and Lefty Argyle are last to be reunited because the CAT bit Lefty and started to carry her away until the wearer rescued her. All right. So I just love this setup because, yeah, it's kind of a silly idea in a sense. It's kind of Toy Story-ish, right? You know, you got anthropomorphic inanimate objects. Lots of big words there. But what I love is just all this world building going on and how clear the conflict is, the status of the character. Like, it's getting so many things right from a beat sheet perspective in terms of me getting my grounding in the story. When Lefty is next pulled from the hamper and put through the wash, Righty is missing at the folding. The wearer frowns, then drops Lefty Argyle in an empty laundry bin. From the folded pile, Righty Comfy tells Lefty Argyle to wait it out patiently. Her partner might turn up in the next cycle. Lefty considers this. Socks are not supposed to show humans. They can move on their own. Plus, there's the danger of being caught and torn apart by the dreaded CAT. Other lone socks lay at the bottom of the bin with her. But there's a sign on the fridge about garbage day moving to tomorrow. What if the wearer notices and sends them to the outdoor rectangle without waiting for the next cycle? Quest to the New World is Lefty Argyle rallies the lone socks and they make a rope of themselves to climb out of the bin and search for their matches. I mean, I just love this. It's very clear. I get it. What's going on, the conflict. I get what's motivating them, the danger, lots of world building going on. It's just super clean, super well written. As the socks search the house for their missing partners, some socks point out they came along to help even though their partners aren't missing. These socks have holes in their heels and they'll be thrown away soon. This is the last helpful thing they can do before they're sent away forever. I love that B story, I'll be honest, because it really does tie into some of the best elements of Toy Story, where what the writers did was they used these anthropomorphic inanimate objects to basically have a big discussion about mortality and worth and things like, I don't know, I just think it's cool. Lefty Argyle feels guilty because if she can find Righty, then her life goes back to normal, but these good socks will be thrown away no matter what happens to her. The CAT keeps interrupting their search and the socks need to hide from the feline frequently. Also, the wearer keeps leaving the house and coming back unexpectedly, further delaying the sock search since they cannot reveal their ability to move to the wearer. The midpoint is the search party finds several missing socks behind a chest of drawers, and those reunited socks leave the search. They won't risk the CAT chasing them or their wearer spotting them in motion now that they found their partners. As the sock search party splits and the reunited ones leave, Lefty Argyle hears the wearer on the phone volunteering the house for a surprise party tonight. This means even more wearers who might spot the socks moving. I just love all these dramatic tension points, right? First, you have the garbage day being moved. Now you have the party showing up. So there's going to be more people. It's just a really great escalation of stakes based on the rules that the writer set up. This means even more wearers who might spot the socks moving. Even a few of the socks still missing their partners leave at this news. It's not worth the risk. Lefty Argyle needs to do something to keep her dwindling group of searching socks together. She makes her way to the computer that the wearer left on and searches for something to help the holy socks, a darning kit. While Lefty Argyle is buying a sock darning kit for her wearer, the CAT grabs one of the holy socks and rips at it. Story sounds rad. It does, right? I don't know. I'm really liking it. I think mine got too complex, probably why I had trouble finishing. Yes, it's a big problem, right? I think what you can see is obviously this is a somewhat simpler story, right? This feels almost a little childlike and everything. However, there's depth to this too, right? You know, like I said, the idea of characters that don't want to help out because of the danger and whether or not and the character feeling bad because no matter what, these characters' lives are in jeopardy. Like, there's still depth going on here, even though it's a little simplistic. But it's really simple in terms of the way it's being conveyed to us through this beat sheet and to the writer themselves. Now, do you always have to simplify your story acquiring this level for a beat sheet? Not necessarily, but this is really the best use of a beat sheet, right? It's super clear what's going on, what's at stake, what matters, what's motivating the characters. And, we can just imagine it in our heads so easily, right? The scenes just flow. My CAT. I like the CAT too, right? They don't even fully explain it. And my guess is obviously you don't want to say out loud what is a big threat to you, but they didn't even bother telling us that. They just establish it and they move on, which I think is kind of cool. Because it's not really necessary for this outline to be in there. While Lefty Argyle is buying a sock darning kit for her wearer, the CAT grabs one of the holy socks and rips at it. Uh-oh. The rest of the socks scatter, except for the match of the feline captured one. Lefty Argyle calls the other socks, but they're too scared to help. Lefty Argyle realizes there's no rule against the CAT seeing socks move, only wearers. So Lefty rears up and waves her patterned ankle at the CAT. The predatory feline drops the holy sock and goes after Lefty. Lefty regrets she won't see Righty Argyle again, but she is glad that she protected the other sock. Just as she resigns herself to being pulled apart by the CAT, the other socks surround the feline and rear up too, scaring him into dropping Lefty and running into a different room. Lefty is grateful to be saved from the CAT, but knows without their partners, the socks still risk being thrown away. They regroup to search the laundry room. As the socks make their way to the laundry room, even socks that left or refused to join in the first place now join in on the search after they hear Lefty Argyle ordered a darning kit and stood up to the CAT to save another sock. Now, see, this is another great example of, good writing. The main character does a bold thing and other characters respond, right? Which means that they're quite responsible for what is going on. It's probably a broken record for those of you who got feedback, but one thing you'll notice that comes up a lot, which is a concern, is how active the main character is. It's not necessary that the main character is responsible for everything that happens in the world or in the story. Of course, they can't be, right? But often people will take a very passive view of their main character and kind of allow the story to happen to the main character. And those stories just aren't as compelling. Those are generally not the stories that we find as riveting. The other thing, too, is even if the story is happening to the main character, we still need to stay within the framework of the main character. We need to be thinking about how the main character is reacting to it and all of those things. The wearer party starts before the large group of socks can make it to the laundry room. They must work together to sneak past the many wearers unnoticed. Their solution is for all of them to stick to the CAT and tickle him to direct his movements toward the laundry room. I love this escalation too. This is so fun. We have this big villainous character, and now they figured out kind of a way to thwart it. And it's a great last surprise. I love it. Several wearers notice, but think it's just a cute, if mismatched, pet outfit. The socks ride the CAT into the laundry room and find most of their missing pairs, all except Lefty Argyle's pair, in fact. After the party, the socks return to the hamper, glad for themselves, but sorry that their leader will be thrown away because she didn't find her partner. The wearer does laundry the next day and finds a single sock. Strange, since there are usually several socks in any given load, but there it is. Only the right Argyle sock came out of the latest load. After some searching through dozens of pairs, the wearer doesn't remember folding. The wearer finds the matching pair, reunites them, and tosses them on top of the folded pile. When the darning kit arrives in the mail, the wearer smiles and darns her holy socks. Nice. Attack of the Dreaded Pantyhose. I love that. I wish I had taken this challenge. I had a 80,000 word. Exactly. This is where you can find that tool to assist in such a project, right? Because when you have 80,000 words to try to distill it into anything that's manageable for you to think about, you need some way to simplify. And the beat sheet is just so helpful with that. It allows you to take that satellite view and see what's going on. Too many subplots diminish the role of the protagonist. They can. It depends on how much that they're directly related to the protagonist versus separate. Pitched to Disney, definitely their kind of stuff. Yeah, it does feel like a legit like movie treatment or something that you might see as like a short children's story, like a chapter book sort of story or something like that. But what I love about it is it's a little deceptively simple, right? Because underneath it, we do have some interesting themes going on. So it really depends on the execution. You could do a story like this and it be kind of, nice and fluffy, but you could even do this and make it quite a bit darker if you think about a lot of the implications. It really depends on the execution. So, congratulations, Bettina. You did an excellent job. As your prize, we're actually going to give you a choice because we're going to be doing some giveaways and you're going to have a choice of one of the giveaways. So you can choose either the Tension Workshop, which is going to be our next workshop, or you can choose a Story Doctor appointment, or you can choose to join the Nightmare Fuel class. It is up to you. So, and I did just kind of give away our prizes. Yes, we are going to be giving away some Tension Workshops, some Story Doctor appointments, and some Nightmare of Fuel spots for everybody. And for these, you didn't have to do anything but just sign up. Although some of you did click on those extra little ways to get your name in the bucket. So yes, you did get extra opportunities to be picked, but this is completely random other than that. That being said, I didn't pull all the numbers in advance. So let me go ahead and pull this one up really quick here. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, this is live and on air. We are doing we are pulling these names through the ever technical process of an Excel spreadsheet with a random number generator. I know. It's just nonstop excitement around here. I feel like we need like one of those big bingo things, but the thing is every time we have a new challenge with a new list, so that would be kind of a lot of wasted paper. So we're saving trees here. We're using Excel and we're saving trees. Look at that. Okay, so the first prize that we're going to give away is going to be a tension workshop. So get tense about the tension workshop. The tension workshop coming up next month. It's going to be not next month. It already in that month. See, time just flies around here. October 20th, towards the end of this month. 20th, Thursday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at Thursday at 1 p.m. and Sunday at 7 p.m. the 23rd. You can pick one of the two, or you can come to both if you like. And we are going to learn how to use pacing, how to introduce story elements, how to do word choice, particularly for adding tension, for ratcheting it up, for getting the audience, glued to the page, maybe a little bit scared, those sort of things. That is what we are going to be looking at in that workshop. You registered yesterday. Well, we'll see. If you win, I will make sure that you get something else. It's okay. It's interesting. Ryan says, was the idea to outline via the beat sheets prior to writing the story? You tried to do a revision of the novel by following the beat sheets and you found it quite difficult. You can do it either way. You can either do beat sheets in advance and then write a novel around that, or you could use it to adapt something you already, adapt something you already did. But like you said, you can find it difficult. It can be daunting when you have a lengthy story and you're trying to distill it into those beats, right? And what that could mean is just maybe you're reading the beats a little too closely. You're not realizing how abstract they can be, that you're trying to make it fit and it's not working. But then the other thing could be is that your story just has a really weird structure, which could work out, but often isn't really going to be to your benefit. The way that our beat sheet is designed, if you treat it in the abstract way we intend, almost everything fits it. Like, it's really hard to find a story that doesn't fit it, just because it's those basic building blocks that just tend to be the rhythm points that tend to make something a story versus just stuff happening, which is not the same thing, right? A series of vignettes is not the same thing as a narrative story. Not that you can't do something that's a bunch of narrative vignettes, but it's kind of like an anthology. An anthology is not a story in of itself; it's a series of stories, right? So sometimes, and I pointed this out with some of the beat sheets I got, it did feel almost like that. It almost felt like, oh, there's this little episode, and this little episode, and this little episode, but I don't understand what the whole story is, right? It's just we have some similar characters, but I'm not sure if this is going anywhere as a whole. Oh, my lamp is showing up all of a sudden. That's weird. Somebody was asking, how do we enter the challenge? Unfortunately, the Drop the Beat challenge is over, but stay tuned because there's more. But before we do that, we're going to do some prizes. All right, so the first winner of the tension workshop, which I was mentioning, comes up at the towards the end of October. We'll be talking about it more because it does tie into the next challenge. Who is the lucky winner? The lucky winner of the tension workshop is Bruce Redelac. Bruce Redelac. I think you might be on. You're on. I think I've seen you before live. But if you're not, you're going to get an email. So congratulations, Bruce. Congratulations. You will have your choice of coming on Thursday or Sunday or both. And it also comes with a 1,000 word analysis too. So you can submit some work, get some feedback. And as we all know, personal feedback is where it's at. It really is. It's great. Okay, so if you didn't get that, don't worry. I have another one to give away. I know. So who's the next lucky winner of the tension workshop? All right, the lucky winner is Mary Jo Weiland. Mary Jo Weiland. Now, I know you come on to the live sometimes. I'm not sure if you're on this one, but if you aren't, shout out to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I've seen you in a workshop before, so that's awesome. All right. Next, I'm going to be giving away some Story Doctor appointments. Story Doctor appointments is really where you can come on with me on a call, 30 minutes, anything goes. You can ask me about anything. I mean, I can't do your taxes for you. You would want me to anyway. But other than that, any sort of story points, character motivation, plot hole, whatever goes, word choice, it doesn't matter. It's your time. So, Story Doctor appointment coming up your way. Who's it gonna be? There we go. The winner of the Story Doctor appointment is... Okay, I don't have a name for this person, but their email starts with Chris and Frankie. That's not their whole email. I don't want to give away online. And I will email you, but Chris and Frankie, you have won the Story Doctor appointment. I'm guessing when you joined the challenge, you did not want to reveal your secret identity. And that's okay. Your secret's safe with me. All right. So let's move on to our next winner, who will also be winning a Story Doctor appointment. All right. So the winner of this one is Ariana. And I know there might be more than one Ariana, but you will be receiving an email. It looks like Ariana Quinn is the name of this person. So, Ariana Quinn, congratulations to you. You have won a Story Doctor appointment. And the way that's going to work is you'll get an email with a way to schedule it, and you can schedule it at your own convenience. It's not a specific time. Obviously, you'll have to book it around when other people have booked appointments, but you will be able to book it at your leisure. So don't worry about that. Just hold on to that calendar and book that appointment when you are ready. Although I do recommend, don't wait around. Even if you don't have something specific, even if you just want to come on and chat about your project and you're like, I'm not really sure or whatever, often we can find something to talk about. You know me, analytical. I'll find something to talk about. It's not hard. All right, so we have a couple more prizes to give away. You should just appreciate the fact I should just appreciate the fact that I get to talk to you, so that way my wife doesn't have to hear me all day long. Although she does like me awful lot, of course. But it's nice to be able to get a lot of this energy out for with all my friends online. So thank you for that. All right, so the next thing we're going to be giving away is Nightmare Fuel. Yes, Nightmare Fuel, the very famous, illustrious horror course hosted by Gareth. Uh, it has come back. Yes, it relaunched today, so you can certainly sign up for that. And if you win, of course, you get to be part of it as a part of your winnings. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my link here because I would like to show you how you can sign up for it if you. There we go. Ta-da! I can do things. Yes, Nightmare Fuel, of course. If you'd like to sign up or learn more about this great class, the class is all self-paced, so you can come on. You can take it at your leisure. You have access to all the materials for as long as you want. And we do have some live events that are going to be coming up in conjunction with Nightmare Fuel. We have some really special guests, Ramsey Campbell and Jeff Brown, and Gareth will be doing a live appearance. I know Gareth's gonna be doing a live appearance. So you get to see Gareth's face. You may you may be used to hearing his voice, but you get to see his face. It's a special behind the paywall opportunity of Nightmare Fuel. All right, so anyway, let's go ahead and give it away before Gareth gets in trouble with me. Oh, look at this. We have some alumni of Nightmare Fuel. I took it, totally worth it, enjoyed it, loved it. Excellent. Such a fun class. Stephanie. Wow, Nightmare Fuel is the best. Well, I don't want to say I hope you didn't win, but I do kind of hope that it was somebody that hasn't taken it before, since it seems like almost everybody here has taken it before. It looks like the winner is Douglas Sherman. Douglas Sherman. Are you here, Douglas Sherman? It's about the only time I've ever seen him on camera, too. So, that makes two of us. It's a little bit like the Yeti. Yes, Douglas Sherman. All right. Well, congratulations. I don't think you're on with us, but that's okay. You will be getting an email, and like I said, you have access to enjoy that at your leisure. So no rush on that. However, we do have those live events coming up throughout the month of October. All right, so I have one more Nightmare Fuel to give away. I got to bring up my little random number generator here. And let's roll it, shall we? It's the last one. Lots of tension. I mean, the next challenge is going to be about tension, so I was just trying to demonstrate how you do that right. All right, so the final winner of Nightmare Fuel. I do not seem to have a name for this person. I'm going to see whether or not I can find it. It's not on this database. Here we go. They're anonymous. They will get an email though, but I want, just in case they're actually live listening, to know it's them. Just a second here. Da, da, da. My apologies about that. Nope, this person wanted to be anonymous. So their email starts with Heddy though, Heddy. So that's not their full email, but that's the way it starts. So congratulations to you, and yes, you are going to get an opportunity to join the Nightmare Fuel course. Now, that was the Drop the Beat challenge. I know we had so much fun doing it. I did. We've talked about beats. We've beat them to death, maybe. Okay, I'm not going to go there, but we have definitely talked about them a lot. So it's time to go another direction. How about let's talk about tension? Yes, our next uh, challenge is going to be all about keeping things tense. Where is it? Ah, here we go. Yes, the Write Fright challenge. Yes, good times to be had with the Write Fright challenge. Uh, the important thing to remember about this challenge is, well, prizes, always prizes. If you would like to sign up and have a chance to win some prizes like our winners did just a second ago, well, the challenge is open right down there, autocrit.com/ Write Fright challenge registration. I know, and you can join. And just like the Drop the Beat challenge, we will be sending out occasional emails. I know people get really excited about them because they want to click that button. They're not going to come every day. They come kind of sporadically. It's to kind of keep you on your toes a little bit. You know, we don't want to make it too easy. We want to let people who are diligent about checking their email get those little opportunities. So yes, you'll get those opportunities. Click the email for your check-ins, and that'll give you an extra little drop in the bucket. Tammy has a question. Well, I'm going to be talking a little bit about it, and if you still have that question, go ahead and throw it in the chat because hopefully I'm going to address it in just a second. All right, so what is the Write Fright challenge? The Write Fright challenge is all about tension. So if you sign up for the challenge, you will have an opportunity for prizes, and then you're also going to be getting tips about how to write tense scenes, how to write frightening scenes, how to put the audience at the edge of their seats. Because let's be honest, we don't all write horror. I know all the horror people are like, well, you should. And I know a lot of you are horror writers, partly because Nightmare Fuel is so popular that a lot of our community is made up of horror writers. So this is totally in your wheelhouse. I don't have to sell you on this at all. But for everybody who doesn't come from that field, let me do a little bit of selling you on this challenge. The truth of the matter is that everybody ends up writing scenes about fear, scenes about anxiety, scenes where you have to ratchet up the suspense at some point in their career. Even romance, you have to do that, right? There is dramatic tension in terms of the relationship. Literary fiction, there's going to be tension, which is based on perhaps somebody encountering an unusual scenario they're not used to. In that sort of situation, you know, it could be that a trip to the principal's office is the most terrifying thing they could experience, right? And so they want to write from the standpoint of somebody who's that scared. So don't think of this strictly as some sort of horror challenge because it really isn't. This is not really a horror challenge. It only is in the standpoint of horror is trying to instill fear in the reader, and this challenge is about it. Now, if you want to lean into it and write a true horror story, you can. I'm just saying you don't have to think about it that way. Think about it more from the standpoint of fear, making the audience have that sense of fear and anxiety. All right. There are a few rules because we're trying to make this not typical. We're trying to make you think outside the box. So, no ghosts. Yes. No dead people coming back to life. We're not doing that. Okay. We're not going to do any zombies. No dead people coming back to life as ghosts or zombies. Nope. Okay. We're also not going to allow for any mythical animals. Mm-mm. Somebody asked aliens. I would say no, because although people are like aliens aren't a myth, okay, fair enough. But I would say no. I would say you could do something about animals that we know for a fact exist and can study, but not something that is cryptozoology or aliens, because those kind of fall into the mythical category. Um, Now, here's the thing. You can, of course, break any of these rules all you want. You know, if you decide you just want to do it anyway, it's great. I have a thing against necromancers. Well, for this challenge, I sure do. Yeah, I sure do. because that's not the point, right? I'm trying to get even the people who typically write horror to have to think outside the box, right? Because otherwise, that would be no fun. What would be the challenge? The idea is that I want you to think about how to make something scary that maybe typically is not. If you want to think about the ones that I'm really going to be looking for, it's things like that. It's things that allow me to empathize with somebody who might have a fear of something that I don't have a fear about, right? Because that can be something that changes your attitude about something forever in ways that the typical, like, I don't want to say cliche because they don't have to be, but tropes, the typical tropes don't always do, right? So, because almost everybody is scared of the idea of a ghost, right? The idea of a disembodied something coming after you. It's pretty scary. Not everybody is scared of bananas, for example. And if you make something about the fear of bananas, I'm all for it. All right, so here's something else. No blood. Yes, I know. But remember, we are only doing 1,000 words anyway. So it's not like blood couldn't happen like in the next moment, but I don't want to see it. And again, this is because this is about suspense, right? This is about tension. We're not really paying it off. We're building up to it. This is not necessarily the moment where we're going to pay off all of that. In fact, it would be great if it stopped right at that moment and you're like, and then you don't see it. Right? Those are really fun stories. That's the kind of story that this challenge is made for. Ultimately, who you have to please is not even me. It's going to be a one under 1,000 words. So this is quick. Maybe more think of it as flash fiction than a true like short story, right? This is like a scene, a moment. It could be quite short. It is up to you, just under 1,000 words, and it's going to be judged by a live audience. Yes, it's going to be judged by you, not me. Dun dun dun! I know, right? Now, how this is going to work is we at AutoCrit are going to vet a list of stories to be the finalists, and then we're going to do a little reading around the campfire at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But through the magic of internet, we're going to do a little reading by the campfire, and the audience will get to decide which story they enjoyed the most. Ooh, I know, right? This is the right reaction. Ooh, I know. So think of it from that standpoint. And again, what I would recommend is something that really is going to be that audience jaw drop. And then you just leave them there. Those are the fun stories, right? And when they opened the door, they found that, and then it's like, and then that's the end, like that kind of story. Those are fun. So so have fun with it. Now again, if you don't have to think about this as a traditional ghost story, because you can't write ghosts, or a typical monster story, because you can't write monsters. What you need to do is think about something that can be terrifying in a different way, or a different sort of thing that could potentially be terrifying than you might have thought about in the past. And that means for everybody who doesn't write horror, well, it's right in your wheelhouse. If you want to write a scene where somebody is just pulling their hair out about giving a proposal, it could potentially work, right? Depends on the level of anxiety they get and whatnot. Now, and I'll be honest, while the audience is going to decide one, I'll probably pick out one too, just because I can't not get involved. And what I'm going to be looking for is something that is just really well written about fear itself, right? That's what I'm going to be looking for. And you will have an opportunity, if you like, to get feedback from me, just like you did with the drop the beat sheet, right? So you can submit it, and then there will be a chance for you to sign up to get feedback from me. And of course, you can also take the workshop, which will allow you to get feedback from me and maybe make some adjustments to your story as well. Does the main character have to be cute human, or can it be abstract like the sock story? It can be abstract. However, it can't be a mythical thing, right? It couldn't be a mythical animal. Now, socks are not mythical, so it would work, but you wouldn't be able to tell it about like a unicorn, technically speaking, and follow the parameters of the challenge. What about paranormal things that are happening but aren't any signs that are ghosts, just unexplained things? That would be okay, because that is fine. You know, The problem is are you going to just leave it completely unexplained or not? If you just have weird things happening without an explanation, I don't know if that's scary in a way, but I think it's, I don't know. Well, it depends on how you pull that off, right? But that's just advice on winning the challenge. But yeah, you can do that. You can have things happen where you don't really know why. However, the main character starts wondering. It's like, well, I don't know. Is it a ghost? Now you're kind of skirting the rules of the challenge, right? So I would say if you're going to do things that are not explained, I would say you would need to do it more from the standpoint of somebody who you could argue is acting irrationally or something like that, versus the only explanation is something like a ghost. Like if you have like a knife just floating in the air at the main character and it's like, and there's a disembodied voice, it's like, okay, you're not actually saying it's a ghost, but come on, it's a ghost. Like what else could it be? So if there's really no other rational, well, even if that's a rational explanation, there's really no other explanation than that it is a ghost. The fact you're not saying it's a ghost, I mean, you're kind of, like I said, you're kind of skirting the challenge. But again, you do what you want. It's your, we want you to enjoy yourself. So don't feel so boxed in that you don't get to have a good time. But I do think to meet the promise of the challenge, challenge yourself. See what I did there? Challenge yourself to try something a little bit different. You know, I mean, look at rabid dogs with like Cujo, right? Like there's all kinds of things you can do that are scary in real life that don't require any sort of mythical sort of thing. What about a rabid chess set? Fair enough, right? I mean, it starts to. What I would prefer is rather than go so supernatural, you go more real. But I didn't completely limit the supernatural because I didn't want to box everybody into a corner. So, witchcraft. Yeah, technically witches I did not ban. But please don't everybody submit witches just because that is kind of obvious. But like I said, it's up to you. I will tell you that for what I'm looking for in terms of getting to that final round will be people that are clever about thinking outside the box and doing something a little bit different. And there might be some interesting selections based on what I'm saying. I'm really hoping the community steps up. I want to see, super stressful scenes about job interviews, about all kinds of things. Because when that is well written, you can be really scary and you can actually make the audience really tense. So dystopia, yes, dystopia is really scary, right? That's true. Magical realism can be fine as long as you don't violate the rules. So no mythical animals, no fantasy. Would the sock story qualify? The sock story would qualify in terms of not violating the rules. I don't consider the sock a mythical animal, even though it's kind of like unusual that socks can move. But no, it would qualify, and I'm sure you could write a scene from that story that would fit, right? Although you don't have the artist's permission, so you have to ask Bettina for that. Are there any topics that are off limits other than no ghost zombies or blood? Not specifically, but do remember I'm on YouTube and I'm not going to go into super heavy adult slash controversial political stuff, if you want to go that way, because I'm going to be reading it live on air, and that's not what this channel's about. So, yeah, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that kind of artistic work. It's just, we're not, that's not our audience. So, yeah. We're always trying to find a way around the rules. Well, see, that's the problem, right? Rules are helpful. It's like Robert Frost said that poetry without meter was like tennis without a net. Like, it is helpful to have some boundaries, especially as an artist, to practice. It's like learning the scales as a piano player. It doesn't seem terribly exciting, but it's very beneficial when you do it over and over again. Then you learn how to improvise, right? You can't be an improvisational jazz musician without knowing your scales backwards and forwards. So it's the same kind of thing. But I'm giving you a lot of wiggle room. I mean, come on, there's so much. We're always focused on what we can't do, right? It's like an old psychological trick. Um, but focus on what you can do, which is an awful lot, because there's a lot of scary things in this world that don't involve anything that is part of the typical horror tropes. October 24th is when your deadline will come. So get started. Uh, yes, sign up below. The submission for it will pop up pretty soon. Not because I expect people to write 1,000 words that quickly, or should, for a challenge. Take your time. Just because it's short doesn't mean it should be fast. You can spend a lot of time crafting carefully what you're doing. But I'll get that up soon and email it out to those who sign up for the challenge, so that you can feel like it's just there, and there's nothing to it. It'll just be a blank space. It's not like the drop the beat challenge. Like, it literally will just be like a blank space. So and it will only allow you to put in 1,000 words. So the Detention Test is Friday. Yes, for those of you who are AutoCrit members, thank you, Tammy. We have a special event on Friday, which is going to be the Detention Test. And I'm asking everybody to bring on a paragraph from their stories, or a first sentence, or things like that. And we're specifically going to talk tension. It's not separate from this contest in that it's completely tied in to the topic, and you could even use it as a way to experiment. You got a couple of days to think about it, maybe come up with your opening paragraph for your challenge. You can throw it in there, get some feedback on it. I know, it's cool to be a pro member, isn't it? Yeah. So yes, Friday at 1 p.m. join me for that. Got an idea really close to real life. Ooh, exciting. I'm very excited about that. Now, throughout the month of October, we will be talking about tension in general. So stay tuned to this channel. If you haven't, like, subscribe, hit the bell. If there's any questions that you have about tension, feel free to comment below, and we'll make sure we will address it, or writing about fear or things like that. Of course, a great way to learn about writing fear would be to join the Nightmare Fuel course. I already dropped a little link below, but there's another one. Yes, join it. It's starting as of now, and throughout the month of October, we have lots of special guests. And of course, we will have that tension workshop. Let me see if I can go ahead and throw that link in the chat as well. Hold on here. Sorry about that. The narrative tension workshop. Yep, I'll go ahead and throw that in throw it in. Are happy endings okay? I think they are for me. I don't know if a happy ending is bound to win this challenge. It really depends on the way you get people kind of worked up between the beginning and the ending, and it's only 1,000 words. So if you think about it, it's kind of hard to dial people up to an 11 and then kind of ease that tension. You might not want to do that for this challenge. You might want to just stick with the tension, because that's what this challenge is about, right? To be honest, this is your opportunity to write yourself into a corner and be like, I don't even know how we would end it, because it doesn't matter. You never have to even use it for anything beyond the challenge. So you can create some sort of crazy no-win scenario, and it's like, yep, that's right. There's a no-win scenario. Ooh, and then you just move on. This is the narrative tension workshop for the people watching the video. That's your link for that. And that will be, again, at the end of the month, right before the final closing. And October 25th is going to be when we do all those live readings. Yep. As you know, I'm going to have a long October 24th to read all the submissions. All right. So those are our announcements for the Write Fright challenge. I hope I answered all of your questions. If you ever have any other questions, go ahead, comment below, let us know. Join us on Friday if you're an AutoCrit Pro member for our special event. If you are in the Nightmare Fuel course, you're going to have a live session tomorrow night Wednesday, so make sure you notice that. And like, what else is going on? So much is going on. Next Tuesday, we're going to talk about what scares you as an author. We're going to talk about that from a existential standpoint. What scares us, the imposter syndrome, all of that. But we're going to go a little bit deeper and try to use that into writing tension for others. All right. Maybe the happy ending is a nightmare. It can be, right? You think that it's good, but it really is not. Anyway, I will see you all around the AutoCrate community. Thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations to all the winners. Bye, everybody. See you around.